Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to remove some of that horrible background noise and that hum or hiss you sometimes get from your microphone. So I have a recording here that I made a couple of weeks ago, and this has a very nasty hiss in the background. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And for today's entertainment, I will be reviewing the Azon camera stand with desk clamp. So you can see, or you can hear there, the hiss is quite apparent, and I'm going to show you a process that I use that effectively removes that without leaving your voice sounding like you're talking through a puddle of water or something. So the first thing we're going to do is to try and isolate an area of background noise, and we're looking for a part that contains only the background noise. We don't want to include any other frequencies, otherwise, well, the better you isolate your background noise, and the cleaner that is, the better your results are going to be. So let's have a listen to this. So that's quite nasty. And there's nothing else, there's no parts of my voice or anything else going on in there that I don't want to remove, so that looks good to me. So first thing we're going to do is to go to Effects and go to Noise Reduction, and then we're going to get a noise profile, which will be this that I've selected here. So now we have our noise profile. We're going to select the whole track, and the easy way to do that is to just click on this sidebar here, and that will select the whole track. And now we're going to go Effect and Noise Reduction again. We've already got our noise profile. So the next thing we're going to do is actually apply that noise profile to the entire track. And I find these parameters tend to work really well for me. Now the lower you can get these, then the better it's going to be. If these two go too high, then it's going to sound like you're talking through a bowl of water. It's going to be noticeable, and it's not going to sound natural at all. The frequency smoothing bands, well, I'd say anywhere from 3 to 6. What this does is, after applying the noise reduction, so it's going to reduce the noise by 10 decibels based on this noise profile. And once it's done that, this frequency smoothing tries to isolate any artifacts that may have been introduced to the remaining wave bands. And the higher you go here, the smoother it tries to make that. So I've never gone more than 6. And generally I usually go somewhere between 3 and 6. But as I said, these are now the parameters I tend to use. So give these ones a try. Now, if you look at the wave, you can see that quite a lot of that noise has been removed. So let's have a quick listen. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And for today's... That's a lot better. Now the next part of our process is to use a subtractive EQ. So we bring up our graphic EQ and start with a flat wave, and what we're trying to do is to isolate any of the frequencies that are problematic to us. Now, that hiss that we were trying to isolate, well, we've got rid of a lot of it with the noise reduction, but I know there's still a little bit there, and I know that it occurs around about this 2K mark. But the process I use to isolate sounds is to just turn these up and then do a preview. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And now I can hear that hiss back there again. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. Right, so that's whereabouts our hiss lies. So what we want to do is to reduce those. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And once we've isolated those frequencies and we've got things about right, then it's a good idea then just to go to manage user presets and manage and save the preset. Now, if you've done a good job on it, you should be able to use this. If you're using the same setup all the time, should be able to use this over and over again. So save the preset, and once that's done, you can apply that preset. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And for today. So that sounds a lot better. Now to finish off, what I'm going to do is to apply a little bit of compression. And that will just bring some of these peaks down and lift some of these softer sounds. So here I'm going to use a threshold of minus 18 decibels, and what that means is it's going to bring down anything that's over 18 decibels. Over minus 18 decibels. And I keep my noise floor pretty high, and what that does, it tells it not to lift any noises that's below this minus 30 decibels here. That's your noise floor, and you don't want it lifting the noise or the background noise, that room hum. You don't want that being lifted back up. And at my ratio, in this case I'm going to use 3:1, but it all depends on how much compression you like. Sometimes I use 2:1, sometimes 3:1. In this case I'm going to use 3:1. My attack time and my release time, I just tend to use the defaults. And the attack time is how aggressive, how quickly the compressor will kick in. Once the noise goes over 18 decibels, it's going to wait 0.5 of a second before it cuts in. And the release time is a second, so it's going to hold it there for a second before it drops the compression. And I leave these both unticked because I will do a normalization for 0 decibels afterwards. So try these parameters, they work well for me. Now we'll have a quick listen to that. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And for today's entertainment, now that sounds really good. Now we can go and do another equalization. This is your final equalization. In my case, I'm actually quite happy with the way it sounds, so I'm not going to do one here. But generally, if I was going to do one, it would be something like this. But I've already cut a lot here on these mid frequencies, so I don't really want to do it again. That's up to you. If you feel you need to do a final equalization, then this is the time to do it. And lastly, we're going to bring the volume levels back up, and we're going to do that with a normalization. And we're going to normalize to a peak amplitude of 0 decibels. And what that means is that it's going to go through the wave signal here, and it's going to find the highest frequency, and it's going to raise that back up to 0 decibels, which is the safest level before it starts to clip in your audio. And of course, when it lifts your peak up, it'll lift everything else up correspondingly. So it lifts the whole level up just below the point where it will start to clip. So now that's a good looking signal. Let's have a quick listen. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And for today's entertainment, I will be reviewing the A's. Okay, well that sounds good. There are 2 things to look out for. And one is, you haven't overdone the noise reduction, and you sound like you're talking through a bowl of water. It sounds like you're talking underwater. So if it's like that, if you can hear anything like that at all, it's too much, and you need to go back, and all this is undoable. So I could undo my normalize, I can undo the compressor, I can undo the graphic EQ, and I can undo the noise reduction, and I can start the whole thing again with lower parameters if I so wish to. But as it was, I was quite happy with it, so I'm going to redo it all. So good morning everybody, and welcome to the flight. And so that's the process that works well for me. A noise reduction, a subtractive EQ, a bit of compression, a final EQ, and then raise your levels back up with a normalization. So I hope that works for you as well as it works for me. Okay, and I'll catch you again on the next one.